This is an assortment of 3 different styles of Astral shoes that all share some common features, but that also each have their own special application. Each of them has the sticky, grippy G-rubber outsole compound. They each have a balanced geometry, and they all are highly breathable. The G-rubber outsole that you'll find on the bottom of all the Astral footwear is very grippy. Originally, it was developed to grip on wet river rocks to go with the Astral life jackets for kayakers who first started using Astral shoes. And it grips just with a lot of confidence for its user. It is a non-marking compound, so you'll find it in various colors: white, black, gum rubber, and other colors. That's non-marking, so if you want to take it on a white floor, a light colored floor, or a boat deck, you can be confident that it won't mark those surfaces. The balanced geometry, what comprises that is that all Astral shoes have a level footbed. So the heel and the ball of your foot are on the same plane. Technically, when you read the specs, you'll find that there's a 1 millimeter drop from the heel to the ball of your foot. And that's pretty negligible. It's about the thickness of a dime. So your foot is on a level plane, which gives you balance. That's the purpose. It's natural. It gives respect to biomechanics, your body's natural position, as if you were barefoot. So it's not trying to do anything to your foot or to your gait that you're not already doing. Another special part of balanced geometry is that the toe box on all the Astral shoes is wide enough to accommodate a pretty wide range of foot widths. It fits a medium width. It has the footbed has a medium arch in it, and it's technically a medium width. So we'll capture most widths of feet. But one of the neat things about most of these models I'm showing you here is that they have mesh across the toe box, and that mesh is pretty stretchy. So once you unlace the laces, get your foot in there, you do find that it will accommodate different widths pretty well. And then the breathability part that I mentioned, all of these shoes have a feature that we call water ready. And what that really means is that the shoes will evacuate moisture in various different ways. If you look up in the front of a lot of these, you'll find these open ports in the toe. And these over here, you've got an open port in the toe and one in the back. So these will evacuate moisture literally in liquid form. You step in the water, it'll drain right out of the front or the back of the shoe. But the high amount of mesh in the toe box, and in the case of this trail hiking shoe, the whole thing is mesh. They're highly breathable, so evacuating moisture in the form of vapor, if you sweat in this shoe, any of these shoes, it's gonna dry very quickly. So breathability is really high focus on all the Astral footwear. So going into the different models that we have here in front of us, we have the Loyak. So this is the original Loyak. We have a few different ones in this series of shoe. And the idea with this shoe is that you're really close to the ground and that the shoe is very flexible. You can feel everything underneath your foot without even looking down at the ground. You can feel when you're standing on the edge of a curb, or if you step on a piece of gravel, you know it's underneath your foot, and that tells your brain, stop putting pressure down. There's something underneath my foot. So it's really meant to have a high level of proprioception. So you feel what's underneath. You have sort of eyes in the bottom of your feet. You can map out the ground around you. You have that ability in all the Astral shoes, but in the Loyak and other models like it, you really have the highest level of that ability. Really short stack height in this shoe, so you're very close to the ground. It allows the shoe to flex considerably. You can fold this shoe up, stick it in a pocket if you want to pack it for a trip. If it's a second pair of shoes, or if you have a couple pairs, you can pack it away pretty easily. Because it's very minimal in its construction, again, it will dry very quickly if it gets moist or wet. You can also take the footbed, which the midsole and the footbed, the midsole and the insole are one and the same with this shoe. It is a closed cell foam that is easy to wash. So if this gets dirty, matter of fact, if the entire shoe gets dirty, muddy, whatever it may be, you can throw it in the washing machine, wash these. You don't need to dry them in the dryer. Once you take them out of the washer, the spin cycle pretty much spins all the water out of them, and they're really ready to go right out of the washing machine. So they clean up real easily. You can wear the shoe with or without this insole if you want to be closer to the ground, have a higher level of feeling on what you're standing on. You can wear it without this, no problem at all. The Loyak is a great camp shoe, a great travel shoe. It's great for any kind of water sport, wet wading, just casual beach going, or whatever your chosen water activity may be. It's perfect for that. The bottom of this shoe has a lot of flat surface. If you're stepping on, say, a boat deck or a slab of granite, wet or dry, this has a lot of contact and a lot of friction. If you bend the bottom of it, you also find that there are these razor cuts in the bottom called siping. Those give additional edges other than the sides of the lugs and the sides of the shoes that kind of grip the surface you're standing on, and they give additional grip. The other thing they do is, if the surface you're standing on is wet, is they help channel that moisture, that water, away from the outsole of the shoe, allowing your sole to grip the surface you're standing on. So it enhances grip in a couple different ways. And the upper on that shoe is a hydrophobic canvas mixed with mesh in the vamp and toe box area. When you enter this shoe, it has a stretchy ankle collar, and the tongue is sewn in. So on this shoe in particular, it fits like a sock. It's kind of a snug fit, and secure fit is a good way to put it. When you try this shoe on, or if you're helping someone get into this shoe for the first time, my recommendation, and I'll recommend this on all the Astral shoes, is loosen these laces all the way down to the very bottom lace. Then slide the shoe on. Especially if you have a wider foot and it's your first time putting on an Astral shoe, do this, because this is going to accommodate a much wider foot. If you just loosen this up, you see how much wider this is than the way it comes out of the box. Nice and snug here, but this will accommodate a pretty wide foot once you loosen the laces. So I highly recommend that method of trying on and lacing. This style here, the Brewer and the Brewess 2.0, this is the second version of this shoe. A lot of the same features that you found in the Loyak. The biggest thing that's different from the Loyak to the Brewer and Brewess is that you have a higher stack height on the midsole, which means you have more cushion. So if you like the features of the Loyak, but you want more cushion under your foot, I recommend the Brewer and Brewess. Another difference in these is that they do have a traditional shoe tongue. It's loose, so it's a little more like a regular sneaker. And the footbed has a Polygene antimicrobial treatment laminated down to the sewn-in footbed. So there's no removable insole or sock liner in this shoe. This is sewn in, but it's very comfortable on your foot right out of the box. nice and soft around the ankle. You've got the little loop, you can pull it up around your foot. And if you so desire, you can kick the back of the shoe in and just slide into it. If you just want to slip into them real quick, run outside, come back in, it has that ability. So that's the Brewer and Brewess. The outsole here is a little bit more aggressively lugged. It's a little bit deeper lug, but it still has a lot of flat surface like the Loyak. So you have considerable amount of grip on flat surfaces. And then this shoe is the TR1 Mesh. So the TR1 Mesh is similar to these other shoes. The biggest difference, I think, is that you flip it over. This one has deeper, more separated lugs on it. It's the same rubber compound that you find on the bottom of these other shoes, but you can take this one onto more variable surfaces. So if you want to take it on a trail hike, you want to go onto loose surfaces like gravel, dirt, you still might be stepping on some granite, some rocks. It'll grip all these different surfaces, and these deeper lugs will dig deeper into loose surfaces. So it's a little more versatile while still being great just around town and on the street. One feature this has in it, again, that's different from the other models, is this was built to be a trail hiking shoe. So there's more support built into the midsole. You have a similar stack height that you have on the Brewer, but it has a feature in it called top shank. What that does is it gives torsional rigidity to the midsole, and it's called top shank because it is a semi-rigid plastic that is located in the top of the midsole that gives support underneath the footbed while still allowing the outsole to flex. So you're walking on a trail, you want that support underneath your foot because maybe you're walking all day, or maybe you're standing all day at your job. Maybe you work at the hospital, or maybe you work a restaurant job or a retail job and you're standing on your feet all day. You want that extra support. But when you go out on the trail, you don't want to compromise the amount of grip that the outsole has. So what we did is we put the shank in the top of the midsole, supports your foot. When you step on an irregularity in the trail, the bottom of the shoe still flexes around it, envelops what you're stepping on, grips it like none other, and you keep right on going. So that's a feature that you find in this TR1 series of shoes and this TR1 Mesh. This shoe is probably the most breathable one in the entire Astral footwear line. The whole upper is this lightweight mesh. You can kind of feel the breeze blow through this. So this is a really good option for backpacking if you're doing like long distance and you might be getting moisture inside of your shoe and you want it to dry out quickly. The best option here is to take a few pairs of socks with you, switch out your socks, keep a dry pair of socks if you're doing a long trip, and this shoe is going to help keep the moisture regulated and coming out of your sock and your shoe. You've got some TPU overlays on the toe and the heel for extra abrasion resistance, and it does again have the port up in the front. And one thing that I'll just mention again is that you'll get a pretty wide foot into this shoe, but what you have to do, if it's your first time putting this shoe on, I highly recommend loosening these laces all the way down, and then when you widen this out, you'll get a lot wider foot up into the front of the shoe. It's really accommodating if you just give it a try. This stretches and accommodates a wide foot. So that's the TR1 Mesh. And you pretty much have a nice selection for different uses from the Loyak to the Brewer to the TR1 Mesh, and it's sort of a spectrum of flex across the shoes. Highly flexible, flexible with a little bit more padding, and then still has some flex, but added support and breathability in the TR1 mesh. Thank you.